What's happening, guys? Adam Nemini, CEO Aerospace 2000, and welcome to my third video blog. If you guys have ever had an NG with a hard AOG for an IDG, needed ASAP and CDG, you guys will know in our industry there's thousands of different acronyms, right from the flight deck where the pilot's talking in an abbreviated manner, to the control tower, to the maintenance. There's just thousands of different acronyms and abbreviated words. On the spare parts side, there's countless amounts of different items from APU, SFCC, TCAS, the list goes on. And in today's blog, I'm going to cover two of the most famous parts, which are the CSD, constant speed drive, and IDG, integrated drive generator. So on my side here is the IDG, the integrated drive generator. But before we cover that, it's worth taking a step back and looking at these two systems. Here first, you've got the CSD and the generator. In flight, the aircraft, all its systems are driven by the engine, whether that's hydraulic power, pneumatic power, or the electrics. And the electrical system on the aircraft is typically a three-phase, 400 hertz system. Any electrical item, whether it's your television, your light bulbs at home, in your car, or in the aircraft, need a stable power supply. Electronic units do not like having a fluctuating input into it. Your light bulbs will flicker, resulting in a premature failure, and even electronic boards can get burnt out, and overall, you do not want fluctuation because electrical components fail early. Now that's fine in your home because you're getting a stable supply coming in from the mains, but on the aircraft, there's no such thing as a stable supply. And the reason being that the power is derived from the engine. And the engine has a variety of speeds. It's idle on the ground, full power on takeoff. In the cruise, it's fluctuating. So the generator, which produces the power, can't connect directly to the engine or its gearbox because that variable input is going to result in a fluctuation and it's going to burn out all the systems. So because the gearbox can't provide a stable input into the generator, the engineers found a very innovative solution, and it's what we call the constant speed drive. And this sits between the gearbox and it connects to the generator, providing exactly what it says does on the tin, constant speed. So on the input shaft, it's receiving a variety of RPM, and on the output, it's ensuring that it's giving the exact RPM, or within a very small tolerance, needed to drive the generator. And in between is where the magic happens. If you guys appreciate the complexity of a Swiss watch and all the internal components, you haven't seen anything until you've seen one of these inside. It's a really impressive feat of engineering. And the origins of the CSD dates back all the way to the 1940s, when Hamilton Standard at the time, then known as Hamilton Sundstrand, UTC, Collins Aerospace, patented the very first one. And what I think is a real impressive testament to them is that usually on an aircraft part, you've got a variety of different OEMs. So regulating valve, you'll have Honeywell, Hamilton, Liebherr, you name it. But when it comes to the CSDs, as far as I know, they're the only OEM that makes them in mass production for all the various aircraft manufacturers. And it's a really impressive feat by them that no one else has come and challenged them, because it's not an easy thing to make. Now, the CSD has its own oil system integrated into it, and that provides not only cooling, but also lubrication for all the moving components inside. And it's such an important part of how it operates that there's a sight glass located just here, where before every flight, the engineer needs to lift the side cowl of the engine to make sure that there's enough oil, it's topped up, because if the oil level's too low, or there's impurity in the oil, such as water or dust, that can clog the filter, which will lead to this overheating and seizing. And if that's not working, the generator is not going to work. You're not going to get electrical power going to the aircraft. So it's a very important part. And when we talk about the complexity of the CSDs and the IDGs, which we'll get onto shortly, because it's such a complex unit, I would strongly advocate, when you're looking at sending them for repair or overhaul, use only the very best repair shops out there, because they're such complex units and they need such technical expertise I've worked at a repair shop myself which had capability, and the test equipment alone, just to be able to set up capability for this, is in excess of $1 million. So now that we've covered what the generator does, which is powers everything on the aircraft electrically, and the CSD which connects to the generator, ensuring that it's got a constant input speed, we can now cover the IDG. And the IDG, integrated drive generator, exactly as the name suggests, is an amalgamation of the drive, the constant speed drive, and the generator. So if you think about these as the first generation, and this system goes on the 737 Classic, the 737NG, which came afterwards and later aircraft, have an IDG. And it's essentially just a generator and a constant speed drive in one. Reason for that, which I've touched on in previous posts, is that everything on the aircraft has to be about saving weight. And in order to be able to reduce weight, you get further range, less fuel consumption, and that's an essential part of airline economics. So the engineers, as they evolved their design, rather than have two different units, managed to make one unit which functions as the constant speed and the generator in one. And there's also another third system which can replicate what these systems do, which is called the variable speed constant frequency generator, the SCF. You don't see them on many aircraft. I believe 777 is one of them, but they're quite a complex unit and they've not really taken well to the market because reliability isn't as good as what these can do. It typically only has about 1/3 on wing time as these systems do. So I hope it's been an interesting vlog today where I covered two of the most famous aircraft parts out there, the CSD and the IDG. As a small token of thanks from Aerospace 2000, whoever follows the Aerospace 2000 LinkedIn page in the next week, we're going to hold a raffle at the end of the week, pull out a name, and one of you lucky winners is going to get the latest 2020 gadget out there, which is the AirSelfie. So until the next time, guys, stay safe, stay positive, stay blessed.